Hello and welcome to Wood-Mizer headquarters for joining in to our third live session of Wood-Mizer products. This time we are going to be presenting you a couple of our woodworking machines. Just a small recap about our woodworking machines is that we have acquired a factory in Sweden, and that's where those machines were being produced previously, and now we are producing them here in Poland in our headquarters in the same factory where we produce our Wood-Mizer sawmills. So we are always trying to expand our product offer together with the needs of our customers. About all these machines that I'm going to be talking about, I'm going to come to each of them. We are going to be demoing just two machines to save some time. Also, I'll quickly show you the dust and chip extraction systems that we have prepared for you today. Also, we have set up a tiny table just in the back there. We will show you a few cutting tools that we are offering in our offer as well. So we're going to have a look at that, and in the end of this presentation there is going to be a Q&A session. So I do ask everybody who is joining us live to ask your questions in chats on YouTube and Facebook, and I'll do my best to answer them as good as I can at the end of this live presentation. So as I've said before, as these machines are being manufactured right now in Poland, we have prepared a catalog for all our customers. So you can order a catalog from any of your local Wood-Mizer representatives. These products are available globally, so you will be able to get an offer on these machines in the USA, in Latin America, in Europe, Africa, Asia, even Oceania. Just make sure that you contact your local dealers and local representatives, as the stock might be limited in some places in the world. However, they will be able to supply you with a great catalog. In this catalog there are more machines than we are presenting today. So this is kind of your best one-stop for the best information that you can get for our woodworking products. Moving forward, I would like to mention that this is a series of live sessions that we are doing. So we had done before Wood-Mizer new products, where we presented the new LT15 Mobile Start and Classic sawmill. So that's kind of new in our offer. Then we have also presented the LX50 ultra wide sawmill, and with that we did show you the MB200 slab mizer and slab flattener. Those machines are already available in Europe as well. So, and another big thing for us this year was the new LT40 wide. So that's available in Europe as well. And the last machine that we presented was the HR250 twin head horizontal resaw. The second presentation was on our industrial equipment. So we did show you the MR200 double arbor multi-rip, which is a very interesting machine. Was presented by our industrial sales manager. I really enjoyed that. Also, we showed you some of our cutting tools, which we are going to be just briefly talking about at the end of this session as well. And next week we have planned another industrial live session. We will be showing you a sawmill, an industrial sawmill from Wood-Mizer. So anyone who is interested in that kind of work, do tune in, and to make sure that you don't miss our presentations in future, subscribe to our channels, on Facebook, on Instagram, and on YouTube, because I know that we have checked the statistics from our previous live sessions, and we know that majority, over 60% of you who are watching us right now, are not subscribed. So please do subscribe to our channel, and you will be able to receive first-hand information from Wood-Mizer. We are always presenting some interesting customer stories, technical how-tos, new products, and things like that. So it's really the best kind of place to get some new videos from us. Another big thing is our newsletters. So if you do sign up for a newsletter from any website in Europe or in the US or Africa, Asia, Oceania, you will be getting at least one newsletter every month. And there we are usually also sharing some customer stories, technical tips, and most importantly, the exclusive time-limited Wood-Mizer offers on our machines. So make sure that you sign up. Thank you for tuning in. And the last thing before we go to a short intro, I would like to ask you to share this live stream in your Facebook groups, where you think that it's fit, so more people can see this presentation. And on YouTube, send links to your friends who are interested in carpentry, joinery, so they will be able to see Wood-Mizer woodworking machines. Thank you very much, and we will start presenting the first machine after just a short intro. Hi again. Thank you very much for tuning in with us. And as I mentioned before, we are going to start with presenting you this first machine, the MP160. This is a planer thicknesser, as we would call it in Europe, or a jointer planer, as you would call it in the US. The basic idea of this machine is that you can plane or joint your wood on the top table and then thickness or plane it on the bottom table. I'm going to run through some specs on this machine. We're going to get very close, and from the up close you'll be able to see some interesting parts of this machine. I'll try to make sure that I tell you as many features as I can, so everyone who is interested in a planer thicknesser or a planer jointer are welcome to ask any questions on chat. So I would like to start maybe with packaging and delivery of our woodworking machines. So all the machines that you can see here are being delivered on a pallet, and they are pre-assembled partially, meaning that whenever you get a machine like this, it would be already pre-assembled for you. So you would have to put a few screws together to make sure that you can start working with this machine. Usually takes just a few hours to get you up and running. Yeah, so that's packaging, assembly, manuals, that's all what is being delivered to you with the machine. As you can see, a small machine like this requires very tiny little space in your workshop. So it is a small footprint machine, and some of these machines, I will be specifically pointing this out, can be fitted on caster wheels. So maybe you can have a look right here, are some caster wheels at the bottom of the machine. So in case if you've got a really small workshop, you can buy those optionally from us, mount it on, and then move the machine within your workshop. So that's kind of, that's a big thing about those machines. They're very mobile, very small. This particular machine has got one cutter head in the middle between two cast iron tables, and is being powered by a single 3 kilowatt motor. And there you can see there's not a motor just there. That's the power feed motor for the thicknesser. We're going to talk about this a bit later. So let's start maybe with the top table right here. This is a cast iron table, and it is divided in two parts in the middle. So here you can see there's a safety cover right here, and in the middle is divided the table. So we produce those tables from a solid cast iron blocks, and then when we get those blocks, we kind of mold them down on a CNC machine for perfect measurement to make sure that all our machines are being delivered to our customers in a perfect setting. I think from the motors, that's what I wanted to tell you. Now maybe the feed motor here. As you will see during the presentations on our machines, they are mounted in a way, those motors, that they lightly swing when they're engaged or whenever they grip a board. That's done on a purpose, so that to reduce the vibration of the machines and to make sure whenever the feed rollers, they grip boards, that they don't damage them. We know that the materials that you're working with are quite expensive, and we don't want to waste any of that. So, cast iron. Cast iron table is a great feature, and it does provide you some really important benefits for working with wood. Cast iron makes sure it's vibration damping. It really lasts years and years and years, so it's very long lasting. It does have non-stick capabilities. It is resistant to deformation, and to make sure that it stays with you in a perfect condition, you can apply some lubricant on it to make sure that it doesn't rust, and you got yourself a machine for tens of years. That's the table. So there is one cast iron table here for planing, and there is another cast iron table for thicknessing. I hope that the second camera person is showing us here. This is the second cast iron table right there. That's done the same way as the top cast iron table. So we get a block of cast iron, machine down with CNC to make sure that it's a perfect surface. The body of all our machines, and the MP160 is no exception, is made out of steel. The steel parts, they are painted, corrosion resistant, highly durable, and steel has got a very high strength to weight proportion. So these machines, they're very, very solid. I would like to ask the camera operator to come closer. We'll show you the main cutter, and we'll talk about the planing capabilities. So this is the main cutter right here. It is 72 millimeters in diameter, has got 4 knife slots, and is being delivered with 2 knife slots with 2 knives already mounted in the cutter head whenever you order the machine. So on the top table you can plane boards up to 310 millimeters wide. Here on the right side you do have a aluminum fence. This is put here to make sure that it helps you to guide your boards through the planer. The aluminum fence can be adjusted. I'll ask the camera operator to come closer here. I'll show you some of the adjustments that are featured on the aluminum fence. So here we can unlock the fence, and we can adjust it up to 45 degrees to the table. So you would be able to add some nice bevel to your boards. It will definitely increase your board value, and it is a great addition to your machine. The fence here is mounted to the machine on 2 steel rods, and those are held in place by 2 levers right here. It's a very, very solid construction. You can see here. And whenever you move the fence left or right, there is a second safety cover right here. I'll be showing you here maybe. So here is the second safety cover, which travels with the fence whenever you adjust it. So I'll show you here. You can see. Yeah, so it makes sure that you're always safe to work with your machine. We're going to go around and have a look on the thicknessing capabilities. We'll ask our excellent camera crew to show the thicknesser table, just right here. Here's the main cast iron table, and there's the second thicknesser table. So the thickness table is adjusted by a hand crank right here. It is being held in place by 4 rods. So whenever we turn the crank here, 4 rods are being initiated and the table goes up and down. Whenever you plane a board from the top, you can put it straight back into the thicknesser, so you don't need to do any modifications with the machine. Just as it is, we'll show it to you in a demo in just a minute. You plane a board and put it straight back into the planer. The planer, the thicknesser under the planing table here features 2 rollers. It is quite hard to show you those feed rollers from the bottom, so I have taken 2 spare rollers that we have on our warehouse. It's a great moment for me to let you know that on our warehouse we stock so many spare parts that they are readily available on hand. Whenever something happens to your machine, whatever, you run a nail or something through it, you will be able to get sorted with a spare part very, very quickly from our headquarters here in Poland. And of course, our agents and representatives worldwide, they stock some limited number of spare parts as well, so you would be able to get help there as well. So whenever you put a board through the thicknesser, it is being grabbed by a steel roller. Maybe we'll ask the camera person to try to show the steel roller under the planer here. You should be able to see from your side there is a grooved steel roller that actually grabs your material whenever it is being pulled through. Okay, thank you very much. Now we can show this steel roller here at the top of the table, so it's going to be much easier for you to kind of imagine how it works. So this steel roller grabs your board and puts it under this main cutter, and whenever your material is already being machined by this cutter head, from the other side there is a polyurethane feed roller that feeds your material through. It's made out of polyurethane to make sure that it doesn't damage your material. Like I said before, we do know how much the wood costs and how much work is involved in producing some nice boards. So a polyurethane roller will make sure that it doesn't damage any of your wood at all. So a quick recap: the top planer capability is 310 millimeters wide, and you can put quite a large cans on this planer, and the thicknesser, through the thicknesser, you would be able to feed 410 millimeters times 260 millimeters large cans. Quickly, I'll ask the camera operator to show the control panel right here. And the control panel features just a few buttons, but I think it's worth mentioning. Here there is an on and off switch, a light indicator, which lights up whenever the electricity is connected to this machine, an emergency stop button, and of course, on and off switch. Actually, this machine is quite ergonomical. It provides quite a few safety features. So, like I mentioned to you before, there is a safety guard right here. You can adjust it depending on the size of your workpiece, and if you want, you can also put it higher. Yeah, so if you would be able then to cover the whole material and work quite safely with these machines. Maybe we'll go from the other side of the machine and have a look at the dust chute, so the dust extraction point. And quickly, I'll just say a few words about that, and we're going to be moving on to the next machine. So here you can see there's the single dust extraction port. This is a 100 millimeters extraction port connected by extraction hose to our extraction system. I will mention to you later on about our extraction systems and hoses and connections and all that, but I would like to mention that these are available in our offer as well. We manufacture them here and stock in Poland, so you would be able to buy extraction systems from us. But like I said, that's we're going to go into detail about that later on in the presentation. So that's the dust extraction point, and I think I would like to stop here talking about this machine. I will be moving on to MP180, the Multi-Planer, and I'll tell you a few details about that machine in just a second. And once I'll tell you about that machine, we're going to come back and see a nice demonstration of the MP160 done by one of our operators here. So let's move on to MP180. I do understand there's a lot of information about these machines, and I understand it's not that easy to comprehend everything straight away. So if you have any questions, you can submit your questions to us on YouTube live chat, on Facebook comments, and I'll make sure to answer them to the best of my knowledge at the end of this live presentation. So we do call this machine MP180, and this machine features everything that we were speaking about in the MP160, with an additional motor, an additional side cutter head. So the same capabilities. It can plane boards 310 millimeters wide, thickness 410 millimeters wide, 260 millimeters high. And then we have added here an extra cutter, so you are able to thickness and mold boards at the same time. The side cutter can support knives up to 100 millimeters high. We'll go around with the cameraman right here, and I'll show you how it looks like and what kind of additions there are in this machine. So here is the second side cutter. So the second cutter is located here. It does feature a second dust extraction chute right here, so you would be able to connect your dust extraction system, whatever, if you've got an existing one and you're collecting it, in your workshop, or you can connect a smaller one as well. So here is just a safety grip right here. To open up, you have to loosen this rubber grip here, and then just open up the cover. Here is another safety feature. As you can see, there's an electronic switch, so you wouldn't be able to turn on the machine whenever this cover is open. And here is the side cutter. Okay, this side cutter is mounted on a standard 30 millimeter spindle. So right here we can see there's a I do believe that's 40 millimeter cutter head with 50 millimeter knives, planing knives mounted. And similarly to the main cutter head, this cutter head is delivered with two planing knives already installed when it's delivered, so you can start producing really on day one when you receive it. The cutter head is mounted on a spindle with just one lock nut right here. Okay, so if you would like to take it off, just take two keys that are supplied with the machine whenever you buy it, loosen the top nut and take out the side cutter head. Its height is being adjusted by shims and spacers that are also provided with the machine when you buy it. We will be having a closer look to our cutting tools and cutting heads later on in the session. So basically there's a separate motor to run this cutter head. So this machine features two 3 kilowatt motors, and you can engage them separately. So I'll ask the camera person to show the control panel here, and I will quickly present you the controls of this machine. So MP180 control panel features on and off switch right here, another safety key here, and your light indicator. So if we would have connected it to electricity, it would light up just as with the previous MP160 machine. Emergency stop button. There is our main cutter head switch on and off, and then the side cutter, and of course the feed. So this machine is supplied standard with a set feed, of 5 meters a minute, and there's a feed motor right here, okay, and also lightly swings similarly to MP160. You can ask and get an optional variable feed speed, and you will be able to then, you know, adjust your feed speed from 2 to 12 meters a minute. I think that majority is really, that's it. I really would like to show you the demo of the MP160 right now, because MP180 is very, very similar to MP160, and it has got only an additional side cutter. So I will ask the operators to prepare the MP160 for a quick demonstration. And after the demonstration, we will go ahead and see the Wood-Mizer MP260 4-sided planer molder. Thank you very much. So two of our operators are going to be preparing the workspace right here. I left some of the feed rollers. They'll clean up the space and adjust the machine. To make sure that you are working safe with your machine, whenever you start putting through the machine, make sure that you do wear eyewear protective, anything to protect your eyes, ear protection. So the operator is adjusting the safety cover at the top. And the safety cover should be adjusted to your material width. So if you're putting a 60 millimeter wide board, you would just put it next to the safety cover and open it up slightly more, so you are safe to work with. thank you very much. So, as you have seen, the operator just fed through a board through the planer and thicknesser. So what the operator did in the very beginning, he made sure that whenever he was setting up the machine, he was adjusting the actual takeoff of the planer with just one safety lever here, and then adjusting the takeoff with this lever here. When takeoff was set, he secured the machine and then adjusted the safety cover to make sure that whenever he was planing the widest part, it went through the planer, fixed it in place, and then removed any bow or twist from the board. So planer actually is the only machine that you would be able to use to remove any sort of a bow from your board. Whenever he got one side straight, he put on the other side of the board, again adjusted the safety cover to make sure that there is no dust or any debris flying out from the machine, and fed the piece through the planer again. This made sure that two sides were flat, and that enabled the operator to put the board back into the machine through the thicknesser. And what thicknesser does, it presses the board against the cast iron table from the bottom. It grips the board with the grooved steel roller from the top and makes the other side perfectly parallel to the first side. So he ran it once through the thicknesser, turned it around, adjusted the height with this lever right here, and made the second pair of sides perfectly parallel to each other. So that is where I'm going to end speaking about the MP160 and MP180, and I would like to ask you to ask any questions that arose during the presentation to YouTube chat and Facebook comments, and I will make sure that I address them at the end of this presentation. So we are going to move on to MP260 four-sided planer molder, and we'll continue from there. So, MP260, it is a quite small machine comparing to other four-sided planer molders, and even MP360 is small as well. However, these machines are also built very rigidly. Similar to MP160 and MP180, we use cast iron parts, so there's a main cast iron table in the machine here. The body is made out of steel. Like I said before, cast iron allows us to have vibration damping and add just this rigidness to the machine. And the steel parts make sure, the painted steel parts make sure that it's rust free from the outside as well. The MP160 features 4 cutter heads and 4 motors. So there's a motor for each cutter head separate. It features 3 3-kilowatt motors and 1 4-kilowatt motor. I'll ask the camera operator to come a bit closer, and we'll show you just what's inside of the machine. Before we go any further, I do want to mention that the MP160 is available in 2 options. The first option is what you can see right here in front of you. This is the Wood-Mizer MP260 Pro version, and there's the other version which is called MP260 Eco. The MP260 Eco does not have a view-through window in the top cover, which is quite useful whenever you work with the MP260. So during your work you can always double check what's happening inside of the machine, how is your workpiece going through. And the second difference is that it features only 3 kilowatt motors. So there's no 4 kilowatt motor in the MP260, and it has got a set feed speed. So we will try to show you all 4 cutter heads in this machine, and I will go through dimensions and make sure that I'll tell you everything in the slightest detail. So as you can see here, there are 2 side cutters, one here and the other side cutter is just here. Okay. Then there is a top cutter here and the bottom cutter here. So it features 4 cutters. The side cutters can be equipped with cutter heads of up to 100 millimeters high. So the capacity of 4-sided molding, you know, you can mold boards up to 100 millimeters thick from all 4 sides. The top cutter, which is right here, is actually the same cutter that is featured in MP160, in MP180 as well. This is a 72 millimeters diameter, 410 millimeters long cutter head. It is delivered with 2 planing knives already in it, and it features 4 slots for your knives. So then there is the bottom cutter head right here. The bottom cutter head is slightly bigger than the top cutter head. And it also is being delivered with 4 knife slots and 2 knives in the machine at the time of delivery. So let's maybe go through the adjustments of the machine and we'll see how that's done. So the top cutter head, which is just right here, it's set in place, and we do adjust it with a crank, so the height of the material is adjusted here. The machine is quite rigid, so by turning this crank here, I'm lowering the whole table down and the top cutter head stays in place. Okay. The bottom table is fixed on 4 threaded steel rods. So whenever you turn the lever, all 4 rods are moving at the same time, so the table is very, very stable. We're going to show the one of the side cutters, how it is adjusted. So there's another crank right here by the feed motor. I'll just go around and we'll show you from the inside of the machine how adjusting the side cutter looks like. So whenever I am turning a lever here, you can see that the side cutter is moving right or left. And to adjust the, actually to set, the cutting capabilities here on this side cutter, you would have to move these 2 fences here to make sure you calibrate your machine the right way. Once that is set, all you need is really just moving this side cutter, as I showed you just a second ago, right this way. Since the operator is already there, we'll show you how to adjust the takeoff of the bottom cutter head. So to adjust the takeoff, you would have to exchange steel plates. They're held in place with just 4 screws. So you unscrew 4 screws, take out the steel plate that is right now in the machine, and put in a thinner or a thicker plate, depending on what kind of takeoff you need when working with MP260. Here is the feed motor, and this feed motor allows us, you know, to change the feed speed. Whenever you are working with your machine, you can adjust, and the feed speed can vary from 2 to 12 meters a minute. We shouldn't be adjusting the feed speed while the machine is off. There is planetary gear right here, and similarly to other machines, this feed motor also swings slightly when it's engaged or when it grips the board. So I think that, you know, from the outside, that's it. I would like to come into the machine just one more time. I want to show you, you know, the feed system, how the board is moving through. And once we've done that, we will have a look, you know, just on the ergonomics of the machine. And we're gonna go to the next machine, the MP360. So in the MP260, we do have here 4 grooved steel rollers. So these are the feed rollers. There is one roller just here, the other roller here, third roller here, and fourth roller here. These 4 rollers make sure that your workpiece is feeding through the machine smoothly. They grip very, very nicely the board. And right after the top cutter, here we can see there is another polyurethane feed roller. So polyurethane is used here instead of grooved steel to make sure that, you know, your material doesn't get damaged in any way. If you are working, however, with very expensive exotic hardwoods, you can order optionally this machine with polyurethane rollers instead of grooved steel rollers. Whenever we are working with MP260, and if we are planing and molding from all 4 sides, we do have a capability of working with pieces up to 260 millimeters wide and 100 millimeters tall. Okay, that's from 4 sides. If we would like to be, you know, doing only the 2-sided planing molding, we would be able to feed through pieces of 300 millimeters times 220 millimeters. And if we would if you would like to use only one cutter, so one-sided planing, we would be able to feed through pieces of 410 millimeters times 220 millimeters. I'm going to close the top cover right now, and we are going to have a look at the ergonomics of the machine all around it. So you see, whenever operators are working with this machine, it's quite easy to operate with it. There are 4 dust chutes in this machine. So under each cutter there's one, and one above the top cutter. The dust chutes are here. There are 3 dust chutes of 100 millimeters in diameter and 1 dust chute of 125 millimeters. So this makes sure that, you know, the machine stays clean and there is no damage. There's no damage to your material, there's no chip buildup or anything like that. Control panel. I'll ask the camera operator to show us the control panel. We'll quickly have a look at that and move on, you know, to the safety features. So, the control panel. This control panel, similarly to other control panels here, what you've seen before, features the on and off switch, the light switch, which lights up whenever the machine is connected to electricity, emergency stop button, and you can engage each motor separately, and the feed motor here, and there's an off button here. So basically, if you would like to be running only top and bottom, or, you know, perhaps only the top and the side cutter, you would be able to do that. You would save on electricity, on spare parts, and this is actually very, very similar to the whole Wood-Mizer idea of working with machines. You know, we don't want to waste anything. We like to make sure that if there is something can be preserved, is it a thinner curve or is spare parts, electricity, whatever, it can be done with our machines. Here you can see these are the optional in-feed and out-feed tables from both sides of the machine. and when the machine is delivered, it is delivered to you on a pallet, and it's very easy to move around through the workshop, and if you need, you would be able to put it up and move it around your workshop anywhere. So if I would have the time, I would probably could go on and on about this machine. I really like the idea of four-sided planer molders. You can produce tongue and groove boards, whatever you're working on, elevation boards, whichever. If you can imagine it, you can probably make it on this four-sided planer molder. Having said that, I would like to move over to MP360 four-sided planer molder, which is the bigger brother of the MP160. It's larger, it's more beefier, and I want to show you a few key differences on it. So let's move on to MP360. MP360, similarly to all other our woodworking machines, is delivered on a pallet pre-assembled. And in every cutter in this machine is already pre-installed 2 planing knives. So in case if you would like to, you can start producing on day one. The key differences here are that this machine features 2 3-kilowatt motors for both side cutters. It does feature a 4-kilowatt motor for your bottom cutter and 5.5 kilowatt motor for your top cutter, because the top cutter is much beefier than the bottom cutter. We'll have a look at that in just a moment. It is slightly bigger than the MP260, and the control panel is just slightly bigger as well, just to fit all the safety features in the machine right here. Built is very similar to MP260. There are 4 threaded steel rods to position the table up and down. There is a cast iron table inside the machine for vibration damping, non-stick capabilities, and resistance to deformation, and the steel body, painted steel body that is resistant to corrosion. There are slightly differences in controlling the cutters. I will show them to you in just a minute. So we will ask here the camera operator to come closer, and we'll start with talking about the cutters inside the machine. I would like to show you all 4 cutters before we go any further. So these are the 2 side cutters. Those are being powered by 2 3-kilowatt motors separately. So if you would like to engage just one of them, you can easily do that. The bottom cutter is right here. This bottom cutter is powered by a 4-kilowatt motor. And the top cutter just here. And this top cutter is powered by 5.5 kilowatt motor. It's very beefy. It's 88 millimeters diameter and can fit knives up to 510 millimeters long. As you can see, here are also 4 grooved steel rollers. So 1, 2, 3, 4 steel grooved rollers. These are for feeding your board through the MP360, and similarly to MP260, it features a polyurethane roller just after your top cutter to make sure that you don't damage your working piece and doesn't leave any marks on the surface, on the fine surface of your perfect boards coming out of the MP360. There is a slight difference in the side cutters as well. The difference is that with this side cutter, you can fit cutter heads up to 130 millimeters high. And if you order an optional extension that can be installed on top of the spindle, So you would be able to extend the side spindles, and you would be able to run here cutter heads up to 160 millimeters high. Let's have a look at the controls of each cutter head. And if, let's say, the side cutter head on MP260 had just a relative scale on the crank here, here is actually a mechanical counter. Whenever we turn it, it shows us the capacity of the machine straight away. And as I'm turning it here, the side cutter is moving left and right. We will be showing a demo of this machine later on, just after my presentation, and the operators will set the machine back the way how they need it. Okay, so then the next lever is just here. So I do apologize. The machine is quite beefy, and even the threaded rods are much thicker than they are on MP160, 180, and MP260. So, to move the table up and down, you do have to apply some force. This is a rigid machine, and for an operator, it doesn't take too much force. However, when a machine is so beefy, you do have to apply some strength to it to move it up and down. So that's to adjust the height of the material. The takeoff of the bottom cutter is adjusted similarly to MP160 and MP180, where we just remove just loosen here the safety clamp here and adjust the height of the infeed table with a lever. This way we adjust the maximum or takeoff from the bottom cutter, okay? So the operators will set it back the way how they need it. And here is the fine adjustment for your right side cutter. So you would be able to adjust the fence here, just unlocking this safety lever here and moving the fence left or right. Okay? Since we're already here, let's have a look at the control panel. Wood-Mizer MP360 four-sided planer molder features a large control panel. You can engage each cutter separately here, engage the feed motor separately as well, your on and off switch, and as well the light which turns on whenever the machine is connected to electricity, and an emergency stop button. So the light is on, meaning that this machine is connected to electricity. Okay, so the capacity of this machine. The capacity of Wood-Mizer MP360. If you would like to be running through and planing and molding from all four sides without any optional, installing any optional extensions, you would be able to run a piece through 350 millimeters wide and 130 millimeters high. But as I mentioned before, if there are some odd cases that you need to feed through a higher material, you can extend the side cutter spindle for up to 160 millimeters. If you are working only from two sides, you would be able to run through pieces of 410 millimeters wide and 220 millimeters high. And if you want just to thickness any material, you would be able to put through material of up to 510 millimeters wide. So that's the width of the cutter head, and up to 220 millimeters high. The feed motor right here, similarly to each feed motor on other machines, is mounted in a way that it just lightly swings to make sure that it does not, when the machine grips your board, that it doesn't cause any damage. With this hand wheel, this black hand wheel right here, we can adjust the feed rate for the machine, how quickly the material is being fed through the machine. However, we shouldn't be adjusting it when the machine is turned off. Similarly to MP260, the MP360 four-sided planer molder features 4 dust extraction ports. I will just quickly close the top cover to show you the all dust extraction points. So this machine features a view-through window as well. Here is a 125 millimeters dust extraction point on top of your top cutter. There are 3 more dust extraction points under or next to each of the cutter heads in the machine. And you know, whenever the dust extraction is engaged, it leaves the machine clean and tidy. Similarly to MP260, I could be going on and on about the MP360. I'm very enthusiastic about these machines. I really like them. However, I know that this presentation is already lasting for a long time, and I wouldn't like to take too much of your time. If you have any questions about MP360, MP260, MP160, or MP180, make sure you drop those questions in a YouTube live chat or in comments on Facebook, and I'll make sure to answer them to the best of my ability at the end of the session. If you want to know the pricing about these machines, contact your local Wood-Mizer representatives, and they will be able to advise you of the availability and pricing in each specific country, wherever you're located. And having said that, I would like to ask 2 of our operators to demonstrate the Wood-Mizer MP360 four-sided planer molder for us. Thank you. So as you can see, the operators will start with checking the machine to make sure that it is closed everywhere, because they have to make sure that whenever they feed through material, that the machine is set for the actual material width and thickness. The operator right now is adjusting the top of the machine, so is lowering to the thickness or to the desired thickness of the material. And there is a mechanical counter that is helping the operator to set the height of the machine. Now the operator is checking the width of the board. Okay, that's set, and he's setting up the side cutter position, and there's a mechanical counter as well to help out for reading of the settings. Okay, you can fine-tune that. The machine, the top cover, Thank you very much for the wonderful presentation of the MP360 four-sided planar molder. We'll invite you to have a closer look on the surface of the boards. I will try to demonstrate it, but I do understand how hard it is, to portray the finish of the boards through the lens of the camera. But these boards come out pretty smooth, and the drier and the harder the wood, the smoother the wood will come out from your machine. I'm very happy that we were able to see the MP360 in action, and we will move on to our cutting tools, and we will have a look on the cutting tools and see how that works. But before we go any further, as you saw on the presentation, some boards they had to be pulled out by the operator, and I'll invite the cameraman to come a bit closer to me, and we'll show you here what exactly is happening. So when the operators are feeding the machine, feeding the material through machine, it is being gripped by grooved steel rollers. So there's a first roller, second roller, and a third roller, then the fourth grooved steel roller. And to make sure that your boards are fed through smoothly, you can adjust the pressure they apply to your material. Again, it depends on what kind of material you're working with. So if it's less expensive material, you would be able to apply a bit more pressure. If it is a hardwood, expensive exotic wood, it makes sense to fine-tune your machine. Having said that, if you are working with very expensive exotic hardwoods, you would be able to exchange and to order this machine already pre-installed with polyurethane feed rollers. So all 5 rollers would be made from polyurethane to make sure that that grooved steel doesn't leave any slightest marks on your material. Okay, thank you very much for listening to me about the MP360. I do hope you have some questions about the machine, and you are submitting those questions in the chat, live chat on YouTube, and in comment section on Facebook. We'll move on, and we will start talking about the cutting tools. And after the cutting tools, I will open the chat and see what kind of questions you guys been submitting and answer those. So before it's too late, I will also like to ask you to stay in touch with us. Like I said, I know that majority of people who are watching Wood-Mizer YouTube channel are not subscribed. So to not miss any further updates from Wood-Mizer, to not miss any premieres of our videos, make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube. If social platform of your choice is Instagram or Facebook, follow us and like there as well. And you can also subscribe to our newsletters, and there we'll keep you notified once a month about the interesting information that's coming out from Wood-Mizer. So new product releases, customer stories, how-tos, technical tips, and of course you will have access to exclusive, time-limited Wood-Mizer offers from around the world. So you can subscribe to any local newsletter you are in. Perhaps if you're watching us from the UK, you can go to woodmizer.co.uk and subscribe to a newsletter there. If you are watching us from Denmark, Germany, Switzerland, Sweden, Denmark, Latvia, Lithuania, Slovakia, anywhere, just go to your local website, subscribe to newsletter there, and we'll keep you posted. I will be moving on to the cutting tools, and I'll show you what different kinds of profiles we can install on these machines. Let's go ahead. All right, so here what I have got prepared for you are some cutting tools that we offer our customers globally. By the way, these here samples have been made on our 4-sided planer molders. As you can see, this is just a European pine wood, I believe so, that we made for, you know, an presentation of our machines. As you can see here, that's just a softwood, I believe. Here, these samples we were able to supply from our colleagues in South Africa. I think we do have a colleague that specializes in woodworking machines in South Africa, in our branch in South Africa, and he was able to prepare these from the hardwoods supplied from South Africa. So these machines can actually make any profile you can imagine and produce very fine finish materials. So we will have a look here on the cutter heads first. What I have got prepared for you here are different cutter heads that can be mounted on our woodworking machines. I'll put on gloves to make sure that we don't have any accidents, as this is a live stream, a live show, and we do encourage all our customers to work safely as well. So here are different kinds of cutter heads that are available to order from Wood-Mizer. We are supplying them from the renowned European suppliers, and you can order from us really different kinds of cutter heads depending on your operation. So here I have got a larger cutter head which features here serrated planing knives. As you can see, they have got grooves on one side of the planing knife, and these grooves allow you to set up the the cutter heads, the cutting knives, the planer knives in the cutter head very precisely from all 3 sides. So whenever you give them away for sharpening, or whenever you order new set of knives, you would be able to set up your planing knives perfectly from the first try. This is an interesting feature of this cutter head right here. I do believe this is a 50mm cutter head with 50mm knives. So this would fit MP180, MP260 and MP360 out of those machines that we have seen today. This is a set of 2 other cutter heads here. This is a 100mm high cutter head with 4 knife slots. So here we can see that it is being delivered with 2 planing knives pre-installed and 2 blanks right here. And this cutter head can be installed an MP180, MP260 and Wood-Mizer MP360 4-sided planer molder. Right next to it, here is a 130mm tall side cutter head. This can be installed already in MP360 only. And if you order, cutter heads like this from anywhere in the world from us, they would be delivered quite safely in a packaging like this. I do have here a package. So if you would be ordering a cutter head from us, it would come in a plywood board box like this with a locking nut on top, and here would be secured with another piece of plywood and with a nut. So whenever you order expensive cutter heads like this, they can come to you safely and without any damage. To finish off talking about cutter heads, I would like to show you here, there are some specialty tongue and groove cutter heads right here. These are quite different from the cutter heads you've seen before, because instead of just planing knives, regular planing knives, these come with molding knives, and this is a tongue and groove set. And here you can see these come pre-installed, or can be bought pre-installed with carbide steel, HM steel, plates, and these cutter heads you would be able to use in a medium to large size production. So if you would be feeding through your planers and molders and woodworking machines larger quantities of harder wood, we would suggest to get you for you to get these specialty cutter heads. And to make sure that you get the cutting tools you need, you can get in touch with us anywhere in the world. So with your local Wood-Mizer representative or Wood-Mizer branch, and they will put you through to one of our experts that will be able to suggest and supply you with the cutting tools you need. Here in the middle, we see there is a set of planing knives. These are HSS planing knives that are mounted in MP260 for sure, the MP160 and MP180. So this planing knife comes with two mounting holes that are needed in the planer molders and in woodworking machines to set, to perfectly position the height of your planing knife. And even if you're using other machines, not Wood-Mizer make, we would be able to supply you with cutting tools that you need. We use our cutting tools in all our woodworking machines, and not only that, I have got here prepared a set of circular saws. We offer circular saws as well, so there we have got a very large offer of cutting tools. So if you need for your operation, let's say circular saws, you would be able to order those from us as well. And this is a circular saw that I believe we use in our edgers, so EG100. You would be able to order a circular saw with different kinds of carbide tips. This cutter head, sorry, not cutter head, but this circular saw features 12 teeth and 2 raker teeth here. These raker teeth have got carbide steel installed in them as well. So raker teeth like that make sure that your circular saw is clean, so it cleans the material and the saw and cools down the saw as well. Here, here's a circular marking here. You can see this is a sign that this circular saw has been dynamically balanced to make sure that it provides the best cut possible, and it's also blackened. So it's made from blackened steel, which is a surface that provides additional anti-friction capabilities, and it's actually a gas coating that is applied in specialty manufacturers in Europe in very, very high temperatures. We supply our steel and our carbide here in Europe, so we would be supplying our steel from Germany and Sweden, and the carbide that we use for our circular saws we supply in Switzerland. So there is a large offer of cutting tools available from Wood-Mizer globally, and if you need any kind of cutting tools, you can get in touch with Wood-Mizer representatives and they'll sort you out, and our expert advice will allow you to use reasonably priced premium quality cutting tools in your operation, which will save you money, and you'll see that the revenue over investment is really, really high when ordering cutting tools from us. Before I jump into questions and answer section, I would like to show you a set of molding knives that we have got prepared for you right here. This is a set of molding knives that you can buy, and here just on a piece of paper, few different kinds of examples of how you can use your molding knives. And these molding knives you would be able to install similarly to MP180, MP260, MP360, and other Wood-Mizer woodworking machines. In this set comes delivered to you with a set of wedges and a set of different profile knives. These are HSS, so high-speed steel knives. And using these knives, you would be able to produce different kinds of moldings on your boards. They're very, very easy to mount. Each knife features 2 mounting holes, so whenever you are mounting it in a cutter head similar to this, you would be able to position those knives perfectly from the first try. So you know, whenever you are mounting the wedges on the knife, they always get into similar place, always, from the first time. All right, again, any questions about Wood-Mizer cutting tools, make sure you drop them into the chats on YouTube, Facebook, or perhaps call your local representative or dealers. Before we go to the questions and answer section, I would like to mention that Wood-Mizer, similarly to woodworking equipment, not only you know, the planers, molders, and thicknessers, we produce dust extraction systems as well. So I do believe that our cameraman is showing right now the MD400, which is connected to the woodworking machines that we've been using for demonstration today, so MP160. This MD400 dust extraction system comes together with a cyclone, which you can see on the left side of the machine at the top, with a motor sticking on the top. It propels and you know, extracts all the dust and sawdust and chips from your woodworking machines and puts it in the bags right there. Then on the right side from me, there's a Wood-Mizer MD500 dust extraction system, which features a larger cyclone, which you can see that the operator is showing right now. So we offer dust extraction systems that you would be able to connect to a container or to bags, as we have shown you here, or in any different way how you are connecting, you know, your dust extraction systems in your workshops. We know that some of our customers would like to install a dust extraction system like MD400 or MD500, maybe behind a wall, not in the same workspace where they're working, to keep the level of noise down. But having said that, we offer also extraction hoses, connectors, and all different kinds of materials, accessories that you would need for your workshops. I will start my laptop right here, right now, log in, and I hope that you have submitted loads of questions for me. So I'll go through them in just a very brief. I can see that the second operator is showing you the MP260 again. That's the 4-sided planer molder that I was showing you as the first one. Is the smaller version, and then next to it, it was the MP360, the bigger version of the Wood-Mizer woodworking machines. So I have already got here the questions opened. I have a chat open, YouTube chat open right here. I can see that there are some guests greeting us from Malaysia, from Sweden. Hello, I do believe that this is Marco from Malaysia. Hello to Malaysia. I can see there's a Patrick saying hi from Sweden. There's Enrique from Spain. Shimon is saying hi from Poland. Hello, Shimon. I can see there are some guests in the chat from India. Great. I do like the idea that, you know, we can connect to all our customers around the world. And having said that, I can see you've submitted loads of questions. Thank you very much for that. I'll go through them very, very quickly. So before I jump into questions, I would like to ask you to, you know, subscribe to our YouTube channel to make sure you don't miss any of our future live sessions, because we have planned for the next week an industrial session with industrial sawmill. So to make sure that you don't miss that, subscribe to our channel. Right, first question about the MP360 and MP260. Can I install profile knives on horizontal cutting heads? This is a perfect question, and I will ask the second camera person maybe to show the horizontal cutting head in the MP360, the big steel cutting head right there. Maybe I'll go closer to the machine and I'll show you the cutting head. So here is the horizontal cutting head. In MP360, this is the beefier model, which features an 88 millimeter in diameter, 510 millimeters wide cutter head. And as you can see right now, we have installed here a long planing knife. This is a 510 millimeters long planing knife, and here is an empty slot right here. In this empty slot right now, we would be able to install different types of molding knives, and you would be able to produce a smooth finish across, the board, and then add some kind of a profile in the middle of the board or anywhere on the sides of the boards. So that was a great question, and you can install planing and molding knives at the same time on our four-sided woodworking machines. When installing planing machines with planing knives into our machines simultaneously with planing knives, let's say MP360 could be acting as a 6-head four-sided planar molder, because you can use the horizontal heads to mount planing and molding knives at the same time. Okay, I'll jump into the next question and see what you've got prepared for me there. Can I use a single head for cutting in all woodworking machines? It's a great question. As I said before, in Wood-Mizer, what was the big revolution of Wood-Mizer? In 80s, there was produced a bandsaw sawmill on wheels that is using thin curved blades. Thin curved blades are, you can consider them as the greenest way to cut wood, cut timber. Our machines were traveling to the forest, to the wood, to the lumber, instead of the other way around. This way, we were able to save, a lot of transportation. It kind of opened up a world to a different kind of services, and our woodworking series of machines ties into this same paradigm very, very nicely and neatly. Because if you don't want to run all 4 cutter heads on, let's say, MP360 four-sided planar molder, you would be able to turn on only 1, 2, 3, for instance, and in that way you will be able to save money on electricity. We know that's getting more and more expensive all around the world, not only in Europe, the spare parts and maintaining of the machine. So, to answer your question shortly, yes, you can use a single cutting head in our woodworking machines. The next question, what are the options of power supply for these machines? That is a great question. We know that our customers come to us, from US. We know that in the US, you don't use a 50 hertz power supply, but 60 hertz power supply. We have customers from Norway that use different kind of electricity, and of course people from UK where 3-phase is not so widely available as, let's say, in mainland Europe. To answer your question, yes. Depending on your location, whenever you're ordering your machines, make sure that you order from your local Wood-Mizer representative. Most probably, most definitely, they will have machines that are already fit to your electricity supply. Doesn't matter if you're in Africa, Asia, Norway, UK, Poland, wherever. Thank you for that question. Another question, which company manufactures all these machines? Great question. So these machines, what we have presented to you today, have been on the market for over 25 years. And around 2 years ago, we acquired a manufactory in Sweden. And together with acquisition of the factory, we acquired these machines. Right now, we are, starting to produce these machines in Poland, in the same factory where we produce our world-renowned thin curve bandsaw sawmills. And what is the great advantage of this? We have just celebrated our 30 years here in Europe, and we have got very, very large experience of supplying our machines all over the Europe. We have got the capability to produce, store, and deliver to our customers all around the Europe from Poland. So right now, we are switching this manufacturing to here to Poland. So you will be able to order from Europe, from Poland. Another question, which spare parts in machines should be regularly replaced? A great question. So we want our customers to make sure that they work safely. So whenever you work with machines, make sure that you inspect them before you run them. So you have to make sure that you've got sharp knives to make sure that whenever you plane, mold, or thickness the boards, you get a perfect finish, you don't waste any material. There are some drive belts that have to be maintained. So like I said, the MP160 featured just one motor, one 3 kilowatt motor. MP280 featured already 2 motors. So a motor for each cutter head. So those 2 are 3 kilowatt motors. You have to make sure that the drive belts are in good condition, so nothing happens to your motors and to your cutter heads during work. So we really want you to be safe when you're working. Apart from that, if you have any more questions about maintaining these machines or about spare parts, make sure you contact your local dealers and ask for the catalog that I mentioned to you in the beginning of the presentation. So in this catalog, you will be able to see our full offer of woodworking machines that we weren't able to present to you today. I really hope that we will be able to get back on air very, very soon with you and present you other woodworking machines, because we do have something called MF130. Is a machine with a universal spindle where you can attach to it many, many different kinds of cutting tools. Would it be a circular saw, specialty cutter heads, steel brushes. So that's a spindle molder with a universal spindle that can turn around in 270 degrees and can work on different kinds of RPMs. So let's say 6, 9,000, 10,000, 14,000 RPMs. And using that machine, you can really produce one-time pieces for your customers. We do have a MB200 planer, which is available in the catalog right here. We've got a 5-head, 4-sided planer molder, which is called MP365, and we are coming out with one very, very interesting and popular machine in Europe. I wouldn't be able to tell you the name of the machine right now, but to make sure that you don't miss that, make sure you subscribe to our, like I said, newsletters, YouTube channel, and all that, to make sure that you're in touch. So, MP260. The question is, can I install stronger motors? So I understand bigger motors. The question is right in place, because depending on your operation, depending on what kind of wood you are processing, you could ask your machines to be fitted with 4 kilowatt motors instead. But to make sure that you get the best information, the best advice about the materials you're working on with, make sure you contact our local representatives. They are experts in these machines. Everyone has gone through a very extensive training, and they will be able to advise you if you really need a larger motor or not. We don't want just to upsell you bigger machines. We want to make sure that you get the tool for work that will actually suit your production. Another question, warranty. How long is the warranty of these machines? So for the whole range of Wood-Mizer woodworking machines, we offer 2 years warranty, meaning that whenever anything happens to your machine, just make sure that you get in touch with your local Wood-Mizer representative, and we will be able to supply you with spare parts from here, from Poland. We'll be able to help you service the machines. The Wood-Mizer cutting tools that I've just shown you before come with 1 year warranty. So if there is any kind of manufacturing default, you will be able, to get in touch with us, and we'll be able to, help you out with the warranty. Next question. How do your machines perform with working on hard and exotic kinds of wood? Wonderful question. Depending on the wood you are working with, you should be looking at different types of machines. Of course, you should be looking also on different types of cutting tools. So you can perfectly fine work with exotic hardwoods, which this is an exotic hardwood from Africa that was sent to us by our colleagues from South Africa. I would like to thank them very much for presenting us this piece. It's very interesting for us and to be able to present something like this. Let's go further. Do you have in your offer exhaust pipes? So I understand the exhaust hoses. Yes, we offer different kinds. 100 millimeters diameter, 125 millimeters diameter, 200 millimeters diameter. Really, depending on what kind of accessories you need, we probably would be able to supply them. So make sure you contact with your local representatives. A question, why are these tables, so the tables are made from cast iron. So depending on the tables we're looking at, I think that the cameraman will show you the MP180 top table. That top table is made from a cast iron. Like I told you before at the beginning of the presentation, we get a block of cast iron, then we put it through a CNC machine and we machine it down to the exact precise size that we needed to make sure that you get a perfect finish. Having said that, cast iron tables provide high vibration damping. They are they can resist deformation. So it's very, very hard to deform them using, wood and other wood materials. They will last you a very, very long time, like tens of years, if you take care of your tables, of course. Question from question about the MP360 and other woodworking machines. Can we get a spiral blade cutters in MP360 and other planer molders? Depending on where you are, you can get it. Of course, we know that they are widely popular in the US. So all you have to do, whenever you're ordering a machine like this from us, make sure that you speak to our experts, and they will be able to advise you on the cutting tools. They will be able to supply you with different kinds of planing knives, and they will explain you the difference between the spiral knives and the regular knives that we are using in our machines as well. So to answer your question, yes, you can. Another question is from Malaysia. Hello again. Is Wood-Mizer going to start offering planing and molding knife sharpeners too? A great question. We have been looking into this. I will not give you a definitive answer right now. However, it's the perfect time for me to tell you that if you want to make sure that you don't miss such product updates from us, make sure that you subscribe to our newsletter, and you'll get updated as soon as we add it to our offer. We will let you know via our websites and newsletter. Next question. How long the right side fence can we get? Okay, so I believe this is a question about the MP260 and MP360 four-sided planer molders. You can get an extension, so an optional extension for the side fence. If you would like to know more about this extension, make sure that you contact your local Wood-Mizer representative. Ask them for the catalog. I know exactly that this information is available in the catalog, and if you would like to know more about it, order a catalog from your local dealer or representative. Next question is from Melvin Roberto. What is the difference between the other manufacturers' planer molders and ours? It is a great question. So actually we know, and like I said to you before, these machines have been on the market for over 25 years, and previously you were able to buy them on the name of other manufacturers, so other brands. However, wherever we bought the factory in Sweden, we got all those machines under our roof, and now you can order them with our name. And if you take a similar machine that was being sold 20 years ago and compare it to the machines that we are showing you right now, there isn't a big of a difference. So to answer your question, compared to other manufacturers, there aren't a big difference, because these machines have been on the market for over 25 years. Next question from Malaysia. Is MP260 too heavy to have roller feed like the MP160 and MP180? I do understand that this is a question about the caster wheels. So if MP160, I wouldn't be able to tell you for sure if you should be or can install caster wheels like on MP160 or MP180. I do believe one of our cameramen is showing you the wheels right now. However, if you would like to know more about it, like I said before, the Wood-Mizer Woodworking catalog is a perfect place to look for information like this. So get in touch with your local Wood-Mizer representative, and they'll sort you out with a catalog, and you will have the access to the whole range of our Wood-Mizer woodworking equipment offer. Next question. Can you explain if there's any difference in operating where you opt in for 430 volts and 230 volts system? I understand this is about the power supply. Is the question that I'm not 100% known. I'm not an expert in this, so I wouldn't like to, give you an answer that would be a half through. So from what I understand, whenever you buy a machine that should be operating on 230 volts or 430 volts, there would be a slight difference in the electrical box, but you will be able to operate it with both. However, having said that, to make sure that you access the right information and the most exact information, contact your experts locally, and they will be able to advise you more. The next question comes from Mr. Patel, and he's asking if MP260, do we have the right side fans is movable like in the MP360? A quick answer to that: it is movable in a different way, not like in the MP360. So in MP260, you'd have to get inside the machine and do some adjustments there. I will ask the second cameraman to show the inside of the MP260. I'll come closer and we'll just have a quick look right there. So I believe that the question was about the side fans right here. This side fans. So as you can see, you cannot control it the same way how the MP360. However, you get the same capabilities as MP360. Having said that, what are the advantages of side fans like this? Whenever you are ordering MP260, this machine costs less than MP360. It has got slightly smaller throughput. However, it is as precise as MP360. I'll thank the operator for showing the MP260, and maybe we will show the MP360 here as well, just to make sure that you understand what we are comparing it with. Here is the side fans on the MP360, and the question was if it's the same as MP260, and the answer to that is not. So it's not the same. Here you can see it's more ergonomic, but having said that, this machine is much beefier, it's bigger, and it costs more than MP260. That's why you get different kinds of controls here. So if you are looking for a machine that can work continuously with similar molding profiles, It really doesn't make too big of a difference if you're working with MP260 or 360. You don't have to change your molding profiles and settings constantly, yeah? So whenever you start producing, let's say tongue and groove from one type of boards, you set your machine once and you run with it. I hope, Mr. Patel, that I answered your question in depth enough. Next question is from Timberwolf Milling. It looks like the fixed spindle is in the way of planing of full 410 millimeters board on MP260. Is that easily moved out of the way? Very great question for anyone from Timberwolf Milling. Thank you very much for the question. We'll ask the cameraman to show inside of the MP260, and we'll quickly just explain what's happening, why this question arose. So I'm going to MP260 right here, and the question was, aren't the side spindles in a way of the full width of the planing capacity? It was a great observation, and yes, there are. So if you are looking to switch for molding from four sides to planing very, very big material for large throughput of 410 millimeters, you would have to remove the spindles. It is not very complicated, but I would not say it is easy. So it takes time to do it. However, you've got the option to do it. So it is a versatile machine. And if you are looking for a great flexibility to go from smaller four-sided planing and molding, you can easily switch. It is a versatile machine. To remove both is not that easy. It is doable. Thank you for the question from Timberwolf Milling. I'll go to the next question regarding all our planers, molders, and woodworking equipment. This question is from Grzegorz Kazimierowicz. I understand the question is, there's a lot of sawdust inside the machine. I work with very soft wood, about 380 kilograms to square meter only. What about sawdust imprints? A great question. So I understand that the question is probably about the MP360. I'll ask the operator to show inside the MP360, and we'll answer Grzegorz's question very, very quickly. So you can see that there is some sawdust, some chip buildup right here. There is not much more sawdust going to be present whenever you're working with the MP360 or 260. And depending on what kind of material you work with, it will, build up more or less chips inside the machine. So if your wood is drier, then the chips and the dust is lighter. So it leaves the machine easier and quicker. If you are working with dry timber, it shouldn't be a problem. The machine will be cleaner inside. Having said that, the question was about imprints. So, Grzegorz, if you didn't see the beginning of the presentation, here are 4 grooved steel feed rollers, and those ones are located before the top cutter here. So whenever there is any chip buildup from the top, it doesn't matter up until this point, because here the top will be planed by this cutter head right here. And then on the other side, there is a polyurethane feed roller, and whenever that grips your board, there already isn't any chips or sawdust right here. As you can see, the machine there is much cleaner, so it doesn't leave any imprints there as well. And Grzegorz, I would like to also tell you that in case if you're working with more expensive wood, you can order MP360 or MP260 with polyurethane feed rollers. So instead of grooved steel, you can order machine with 5 polyurethane feed rollers. I hope that answers your question, Mr. Grzegorz. I'll come back to my station right here, and as I can see, that was the last question. So thank you very much for the questions, everyone, especially for the guests from all around the world. We really appreciate that you are joining in to say hi, to ask your questions, to get to know our products. And from the whole of the Wood-Mizer, sorry, I think I touched my microphone. From the whole of Wood-Mizer, we'd like to thank everyone who is joining us to see our live, asking questions, getting to know our product offers. And I would like to invite you to the next live presentation, which will be on air next week on Thursday, hopefully, depending, you know, on the weather conditions we've got here in Poland. We will be presenting you an industrial sawmill with some board removal system, transfer tables. Maybe we will chip in another piece of equipment there. So make sure that you subscribe to our newsletter. So we'll send you a reminder about that live session just before it actually airs. Then if you don't want to miss it on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to our channel, because like I said, I've seen the statistics and I know that most of you who are watching us are not subscribed. Having said that, I would like to thank everyone who joined us on a live session today. Thank you everyone for your questions. Make sure you keep in touch with us and come back and see us next week when we will be presenting industrial sawmills. Thank you very much. I'll see you next time.